Welcome, dear viewers. Welcome, dear friends. Welcome, dear viewers. Welcome once again to Humanist TV Africa. Welcome to Humanist TV Africa. And this is your host. This is your colleague. This is your friend, Kato Mukasa, who is a Ugandan and interested in issues to do with human rights, interested in issues to do with humanism, but also interested in writing books and sharing information. Now, today we are doing something very important, but we would like to encourage you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. The name is Humanist TV Africa, the same name for our Facebook page. Please do subscribe to Humanist TV Africa. I'm going to be requesting Dennis to once and again and again, putting the YouTube channel as we talk so that people can be able to subscribe and follow what we do, because we need numbers. To be honest, we need numbers. We can't do better without numbers. We need to have numbers where people can be able to watch what we share, because honestly, we put in so much time to be able to be seen online. There's a lot of background work we do, lots of research we do. I have a very dedicated team. I don't work alone. You may see me on the screen, but I'm telling you, behind me are about 20 people. Behind me are about 20 people. Some of them are putting in resources, many of them putting in their time. Many of us are working as volunteers. It's a bit hard, but there are people, good, willing people, people who are generous, who are making sure that we are able to be here, to make sure that we have the data to be here, to make sure that we have the phones, the laptops, the cameras to be here. I want to thank those individuals who have been helping us to be able to feature live. As I talk now, Humanist TV Africa, please subscribe. Dennis is going to leave it there for some time. Please subscribe. Whoever is watching us, you are watching us live, right from your studio, right from your visiting room, right from your car, wherever you are, your office, your home. This is your TV. I know that online TV can be able to be watched years after years. Some of you are going to watch this program years when it was done, and you remember that we did it right on this day, on this Sunday day, when we were remembering our foreign colleague. Now, before I go to that, I want to encourage you to subscribe. Please, we look for numbers in marketing. In marketing, which I studied at one point, in marketing goes with numbers, because the more we have people have subscribed, the better, because we know that our message will be upheld by YouTube. Our message will be respected by Facebook. So we request you to please, if you haven't subscribed, the only way you can motivate us is by subscribing. It doesn't even take a minute. Simply hit that dial, subscribe, go to our YouTube channel. Please look for the name Humanist TV Africa, and only simply hit that knob for subscription, and ensure that you get all notifications. Ensure that you hit the notification bell and you get all those notifications every time we appear. But remember that each day we appear on this TV. Each day we have programs that we feature on this TV. Remember that as I speak, we are almost 2 years old now as I speak, but we are just a month plus as Humanist TV Africa. We began as Call to Activism Africa, a project which I began with my foreign sister Lynda Tilley, and of course I began it with Dennis Bongole, who is very alive and kicking in Uganda, and that was three of us started this whole thing. It was me, it was Lynda Tilley, and it was Dennis Bongole. The three of us started this program. We did start this TV, but initially the name was Call to Activism Africa. We did start this TV, three of us, me, Katomokasa, Dennis Bongole, and Lynda Tilley. Now, on the passing of Lynda, we had agreed before she passed on that we are going to start a TV, and we are going to name it Humanist TV Africa, a TV which had to unite all people in Africa and take the best information to them. That's why you see that we rebranded and we changed from Call to Activism Africa to Humanist TV Africa, because we had agreed with Lynda, with Dennis, and the team. That time I had been joined by Kabeko Brian in Kenya. We had agreed to widen our scope and rebrand ourselves and be for Africa, not to be only activists, but humanists that are doing more than activism. Now we are here as a TV. I can tell you we are a non-governmental organization. We are a non-profit-making organization. We don't work for profits, though we encourage people to come and advertise with us, but we don't really work for profits. We want to simply be able to cover the costs in economics, which I studied. We call it break even. In economics, we call it break even. Break even is when you can be able to cover the costs of a company. Now, even when it's an NGO has costs. A TV station has so many costs. We have so many costs. I can tell you the first number one cost is the cost of being on air. It's called data or airtime or credit, as you call it, wherever you are. It's very expensive to be online, especially for everyone who has been online for an hour. You know it's very expensive. So that's the cost number one. Of course, our team is having cameras. We have been setting studios in Ghana. We have set a studio in Nigeria. We are setting a studio in Nigeria. We have set studios, so far 3 studios in Uganda. In different areas, we have studios in Uganda, 3 of them. We have set studio in Zimbabwe, in Zambia, of course, Nigeria, Ghana. We are coming up with studios. Kenya has a studio. So setting up these studios, it needs a camera. We are buying cameras. We are buying laptops. We are buying phone gadgets. We are buying microphones. We are buying tripods. There are so many things we do buy. I'm taking this time to tell you why Humanist TV Africa needs your support. Even before we go into the theme of the day, I would like to introduce to you Humanist TV Africa and also tell you where we come from. We come from a time when me and Lynda agreed that it was in June last year, we agreed to start a platform that we would use to champion our cause as human rights defenders. Me and Lynda, I still believe that Lynda lives in our works. I won't say as if she's dead. I would say as if she's still with us. We are humanist defenders. We are humanist activists. We are defenders of the hopeless. We are defenders of the vulnerable. We are defenders of people being witch hunted by their governments. We are defenders of the minorities. Now, me and Lynda, in June last year, and I mean 2022, we agreed to start a television station on which we would simply do activism, on which we could simply get news across Africa, have interviews, people speaking about things they do in Africa. That's why that channel was called Call to Activism Africa. That was in June 2022. But now, along the way, around January, around December last year, Lynda had an idea that we need to rebrand, we need to be bigger, we need to go beyond activism, we need to start training people, because we realized that many Africans, people in Africa, really need education. They need education, they need empowerment, they need information. So we thought activism is good, being an activist is good, but again, our people need information, our people need training, our people need updates, regular updates on a daily. And we thought that now we need a TV. not simply a Saturday show, because initially it was a Saturday show for a full year. So we said, no, we need to have a regular TV production. We agreed with Lynda, of course with Dennis, of course with Brian Kabeko, and of course other individuals I won't mention right now here who are behind the support of this project. Of course, Mr. Paul Evans and others. We did agree that we are going to start a TV. We are going to start a TV, which is Humanist TV Africa. And of course, Mr. Paul Evans is our patron as we speak. But we had meetings with Lynda, with Mr. Paul Evans, and of course with Dennis and Brian in different followers. We are discussing what do we do, how do we rebrand. So we agreed to start Humanist TV Africa, and then here we are. Here we are. Sadly, Lynda had the master plan for this TV. Of course, we had brainstormed it. We wanted it to have so many human rights activists all over Africa coming on a daily to give us updates, because we thought that the only way we can make African governments accountable is by exposing them, is by exposing whatever they are doing in Africa. And this is what we are going to do. We know this is a risky business, of course, talking about politicians, talking about companies in Africa doing wrong things, talking about the good things also that happen in Africa. We thought, me and Lynda, as we're going to see in our book, we thought that basically Africa is being wrongly marketed. That was the idea we had with Lynda, and I think she was right. We and Lynda, we had a view that Africa has been marketed wrongly for so long. For so long. People have been marketing Africa as a dying continent, as a starving continent, as a continent under war, as a continent without life. So me and Lynda thought that maybe we need to change this narrative about Africa and start showing the good things in Africa. I can tell you, you can say a country like Uganda, where we have a dictatorship, someone is ruling you for almost 40 years, but there are good things in Uganda, I should tell you, as a Ugandan, things which I'm proud of. Things which I'm proud of showing the country, the world. Look, Uganda has good culture. Uganda has well-respected people. Uganda has a good environment. Uganda has good soils. Uganda has food. Uganda has healthy people, healthy babies. Actually, our people can live as long as 80, as 90, as 100 years in Uganda. People live up to 100 years in Uganda. But people don't actually know these things outside. People, when they hear Uganda, they think there's Idi Amin. It is funny. The man left in 79. But some people think Idi Amin is the president of Uganda. So you can see, we thought that many people outside Africa know little about Africa. Why? Because media in Europe, media in Americas, and I'm using the word Americas intentionally, have concentrated on marketing Africa in the negative way. And they have a reason why they do so. Why? Because in Africa are foreign-based NGOs. What I'm saying today is what Lynda told me, and is what we discussed with Lynda, and is what I have put in the book, which I'm going to be launching today with you. That we discovered that why are these people, why does CNN show Africa in a negative perspective? Why does BBC continue to show Africa in a negative perspective? Why do all these stations always depict the bad part about Africa? Why? Because there are NGOs in Africa that basically only survive by getting donations from Europe, that survive by getting donations from Americas. Now, how do you get a donation without showing dying people? How do you get donations without showing starving children? How do you get donations without showing women who are not in school, who are being beaten, who are being maimed, who are being killed? You must show something bad so that the emotion of a donor is attached with what you are showing, and then they can give you money. This is how NGOs work. So NGOs basically concentrate on portraying Africa in a bad way. And I should tell you this as a person who has been working with NGOs. It's very bad that we rarely show the good face of Africa. Now, most of these international NGOs, I can mention their names, I won't mention them. You know them. Simply go on these TVs in Europe and watch. You will want to cry. They are concentrating on lack of water. They are concentrating on lack of food. Even in areas where I know we have water, this NGO is going to go and show we don't have water. And it's embarrassing. When you're an African and you see these things happening in Europe, you see these programs happening in Europe, they show you a dying continent. When you come from there, when you know that people actually live longer, my mother is 80 plus. My father died past 80. My grandparents died past 80. In my family, actually, we live longer. In my own family, we live longer. But actually, people want to show that in Africa, everyone dies young. They die below 40, they die below 35, or HIV so much. People are living, people are surviving. So why did we decide as a channel that we know time has come to brand Africa in a positive way? To tell the world that, look, in Africa, basically, we immunize. Personally, I was immunized. My mother was a nurse. My mother worked in a hospital for over 40 years, a trained medical nurse. My mother made sure that I was immunized. And all of us, at least in my family, are immunized. So people are immunized, people are civilized, people have gone to school. My grandfather had gone to school. And I know many other Guan people's parents had gone to school. But why is the rest of the world interested in showing Africa in a negative way? Because it pays NGOs to do so, to always show the negative part of Africa. It pays them, it gets them money. Now, this is something we wanted to change with Lynda Tilley. Now, I'm telling you my story with Lynda Tilley. What did you want to change for Africa? Number one, the way Europe and America advertise us. We said it must change. At least it begins with us by showing the good things out of Africa. We have food. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. We never lacked food. Up to now, at least in my home in the village, there is food. But what are they telling you? Oh, there's no food in Africa. But some families have food. Some people have gardens. Like any society, there may be some people who don't have food. But why do you generalize and say, oh, people in Africa are hungry? When you talk to a donor in Europe, people normally have a perception that for us it's all about poverty, 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 poverty. No, people basically survive. Well, you may not have the money, that's true. You may lack the cash, but people that have their gardens survive. That's why I've been discouraging many donors from giving handouts to people in Africa to buy food. To me, that's being lazy. To me, if you are going to pay school fees for someone in Africa, to me, I say thank you so much. That's a good one. But someone who lives in Kasese, who lives in a village, why do you buy them rice? Why do you buy them food? They're in a village. They should learn how to dig. So me and Lynda thought that we need to change the narrative. And actually, I've been saying this, Dennis has been capturing it in my talk shows on this TV. I've been saying that the problem of Africa, which Lynda says in the book we are going to be launching today, that the problem of Africa is not lack of money. The problem of Africa is not lack of money. The problem of Africa is lack of information. People need more progressive education. People need more empowerment. Dennis has been phrasing my catchword. We don't need more foreign aid. And I repeat this, and I've put it in the book I wrote to remember Lynda. Because me and Lynda could discuss from Monday to Sunday. There is no day ever since we met actively that we never discussed. We talked so much. Every day that my phone is full of audios, of videos, me and Lynda talking these things I'm sharing today, because we were great brains sharing. She was a very intelligent woman, very, very intelligent woman, very, very blessed, if I use that word, with the brain. She had a powerful brain. And now, when I meet someone who's intelligent, I'm really excited. I'm attracted to intelligence. That's what they call it. People are attracted to intelligent people. It's me. When someone is intelligent, I really like them. It's the reason I liked Lynda, because she could press you so hard on the wall. I press her back hard on the wall. We reason through things, through and through and through. Now we are saying that what we need in Africa is not money. And I repeat this, it's not handouts to buy food. In fact, I should tell you that if you give people who are not prepared to receive money in Africa, they are more likely to go and drink alcohol and then die out of alcoholism. They are more likely to go and marry more women and then die out of misbehavior. So give them money without preparing them to receive the money. They are more likely to do more harm to themselves than good. So we are saying with Lynda, what do we do with Africa? Now the problem is that we must change mindset change. We must work on mindset change. How do we change the thinking of an average person in Africa? So they begin thinking for themselves. We are humanists. The problem is not famine. The problem is not war. Those are symptoms. The problem is not lack of money in the pockets. That's not a problem for Africa. The problem is miseducation. We have been diagnosing these problems with so many Pan-Africans, including Lynda, who was a pure Pan-Africanist. People want Africa to move forward. That's how I look at them, as Pan, not these other races who want to say Africa for Africans. Who told you that Africa belongs to Africans? All of us Africans, whether Caucasian like Lynda, all of us belong to Africa. But me and Lynda, our view was that what we need in Africa is education. But not the kind of education the colonialists have given us. That's why Lynda was insisting on disbanding the colonial education, and I supported her. She used to tell me that, Kato, the problem you have, you are overeducated. And I could feel shy, and I could say, okay, can I take away my degrees? Because she tells me every time, the problem you have, you're overeducated, you're unenlightened. She could accuse me in a friendly way and with quarrel. So she tells me the problem you have. Whenever you argue and she thinks I'm really hard on her, the problem you have, for you think like unenlightened. But for me, I think like unenlightened. Like someone who's so overeducated. She would say, you are overeducated. You have 3 degrees for what? You are overeducated. That's why you don't think properly. So she was saying that the problem we have in Africa, even me, with all these degrees, that I don't think properly because I'm overeducated, I'm biased. That the Western, she used to call it the Western imperialism has biased my thinking. Yet I thought she was wrong on that. But her point was that when you are overeducated, sometimes there are things you miss. There's a reality you miss. Like at one time we were discussing things to do with polygamy. I had my own view. She had her own outward different view, and she was fine with it. I said, look whatever context, look what if a woman wants it, if a man is going to treat her fairly, instead of this woman being out there, she's better off to be a second wife. And that was her view. Very Afrocentric. Linda had very Afrocentric views. You couldn't even expect from her. She tells you, I'm okay with polygamy. If it can be a win for me, why not? So sometimes I say, no, that's wrong. Even when I may be a victim, but I think that's wrong. It's not really good. But she said, it's okay. It's okay. So now you can see, she tells you the problem you have is that you have been miseducated to think that everything Europe does is good. That was Lynda, always challenging me and challenging everyone. She tells me, you think everything the West does is good. You are wrong. The West is doing so many bad things. And actually they are changing. But the bad things that as they are changing, for you are still stuck in the past. So that was Lynda. So one of the challenges we wanted to tackle to have a progressive Africa was education. And Lynda's take was that we have been miseducated. We have been miseducated. That was her take. The her take was that, look, the syllabus we have in Africa is not training us to have skills that can work on our memories. And she was right. Lynda was right. And I put everything in a book, our conversation. I follow in the footsteps of Xenophon. I follow in the footsteps of Aristotle. I follow in the footsteps of Plato, people who were conversing with philosophers, listened to the philosophers, and wrote down what the philosophers said. For example, Socrates never wrote a book. Socrates, one of the most intelligent persons to come out of Athens, that Greek maestro, never wrote anything. But the brain was golden. Socrates was a university, one-man university, but he never wrote a book. So I looked at Lynda as a Socrates of such, very intelligent woman, very hardworking, very loving, very committed, but she never wrote a book. And I used to tell her every time, Lynda, write your story. And she could tell me, Kato, if I go soon, you'll write my story. And basically, whatever I'm saying, I have audios, I have messages to that effect. She tells you, if I fail to write my story, you write it. We have fun conversations. I always tell her, Lynda, I'm writing, because I've been a writer. Ever since I met her, I've been writing a book. Every time I tell her, Lynda, I'm writing my book. I'm writing a third one. What are you doing? She tells me, I'm so busy, but I'm starting to write. I've written a sketch, but if I fail, I will send it to you. You do it for me. That was Lynda. Lynda wrote part of her book. In fact, what Lynda wrote, I put it in her book without changing even a comma. Part of the book which Lynda wrote, I have put it in the book I'm launching today. And you will see it in that chapter, where I've told you that this was a sketch of Lynda's book, because she had sent it to me. Lynda was so close to me. That's one thing which I'm proud. That when her sister went to South Africa, the first thing she told me that, hey, I was surprised when I went to South Africa to check on my sister, I found on her calendar, on Lynda's calendar in her bedroom, there was my name on her calendar. And my name was there to mark my birthday. She wrote on her calendar in her bedroom my name and my birthday. That's how close and how friendly we were with Lynda. She couldn't even dare to think of missing my birthday. Always there to make for me posters, to remind me to do everything like a brother to a sister. That was how much love we had with each other, like a brother to a sister. She wrote in her own bedroom on her calendar, my name, my full name, my birthday, my date, my everything. She had put a summary there so that she can look at me every time she looks at the wall. That's how special she was to me, that we discussed all these things. And we said, what is the problem of Africa? The problem of Africa is one, miseducation. So if that's the problem, if people have deliberately miseducated us, what do? We must re-educate ourselves. So with Lynda, we always looked for solutions. If people have miseducated us, they haven't taught us about our history, they haven't taught us skills to use what we have. How do you go to a university? I'm an economist. Before I became a lawyer, I read economics. I should tell you, when I was at one of the best universities in Africa, Makerere University, you can search it. One of the best universities in Africa is called Makerere University, and I'm a product of that university. When I was at that university studying economics, I can tell you, they taught me theories of economics which were invented by Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations. You can imagine how bogus this system is. A man who died so many years ago in the United Kingdom wrote books, and people are teaching me in 1999 theories, models of these people, models they made all these years ago, which are no longer applicable. They taught me mathematical economics, they taught me so many things, calculus, so many things, which I will not apply in the field of economics today. So this is miseducation. Why do you waste my 3 years at the university teaching me so much mathematics, which is expired, teaching me so much models, so many models which are expired, which are no longer applicable, but you are teaching them to me. Models they made in the 60s, you teach them to a person reading economics in 1999, Makerere University. I was a student there. The models you taught us were expired. But people tell you, oh, education doesn't expire. My friend, a model may expire. It's no longer applicable today. You read it, fine. But where do you apply it? Is the question. Where do I apply it? So you find that half of what you have studied was good, but it's no longer applicable in your current situation. It was good. It's nice learning it. Learning calculus, mathematical economics, and all these things were nice. But the question I was asking myself is, where do we apply this? And no lecturer is willing to tell you that. Where do we apply this? You have taught me about Adam Smith, you have taught me about this, you have taught me about this, all these economists of the 18-something. Their theories are good. But the question is, these models they are advancing today, are they applicable? And this is the problem. Someone works out of the university with a very good degree, but honestly, this person is not skilled. People with degrees, but without a skill. And this is the problem that is killing the education sector in Uganda and in much of Africa. And I'm telling you this as someone who has gone through university, that the education is a miseducation. You train people skills they cannot use outside. People have very good paper degrees without practical skills. You know very well that in Africa, we have minerals. Why don't you teach students how to use these minerals? How to mine them? How to purify them? Because these are the resources they have. You know, people in Africa, like in Uganda, have bananas, for example. Why don't you teach them how to improve on these bananas and make better products out of these bananas? How to improve agriculture? Why don't you make things like agriculture compulsory for many students to be productive? Because wherever they go, there are mangoes. In Uganda, I can tell you, mangoes rot. Yet in Europe, mangoes are so expensive. Now, if you taught someone in Uganda how to make juice out of mangoes, they are going to export very good juice to the UK, to the Americas, to everywhere. Now, the country is going to benefit, but also the world is going to benefit from the skills we would have trained these people. Now, this is what me and Lynda always said. We need a better education system. That was our number one priority. That's why this TV is there. We need a better education system. This is what is in the book we are launching today. I'm just giving you a background, but also telling you why this book. Welcome, my brother Mambu. Brother Mambu, you're welcome. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to give a brief introduction again, then I'm going to invite you to carry on. You have heard me? Have you heard me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, I'm going to continue giving a brief introduction about the book. Then I'm going to invite you to carry on. Now, our viewers, I'm telling you why me and Lynda Tilley we became sister and brother, and why our brains synced. The English people call it syncing. That's the language of, I think, computing. Why our brains synced and we became sister and brother, we became inseparable for the few years we are together. Why? Because we are thinking the same. Lynda was a Caucasian. They call them white people, but I don't call them white people. Lynda was a Caucasian. Lynda, her background was from UK. She's actually Briton, but Lynda was raised in Africa. And Lynda is one person I met that I felt so proud of being a human being. I should tell you this one, Mambo. You met Lynda about a year ago. I met Lynda about 4 years ago. But I can tell that Lynda is one person I met, and for the first time in many years, again, I felt being proud to be called a human being. Because this was a woman who was white, as people say, which is also wrong because they are not white people. But this white woman was so humble, was so loving, was so down to earth, was so African, that Lynda, the qualities of Lynda were far much better than so many black women. I'm telling you this. And I'm not biased. I'm not a racist. I'm a black man. But I'm saying that Lynda, a white woman, had virtues, had qualities, had love that you could rarely find in so many black women. That you could rarely, not usually find it in so many black women. Yet here is the white woman who is so African. It was so amazing that when you discuss with Lynda, a white woman, this woman is so African. It is amazing. She is down to earth. She has moved Africa. She has worked in Africa. She was born in Africa, first of all, but she adapted to Africa so much that she became the true daughter of Africa. Yet many Africans who are born in Africa, who are black people, actually want to hate on Africa. You get it, ma'am, what I'm saying? Someone
Yes,
who is
yes.
black like me, hates her skin. Someone who is black like me hates her being African. Lynda, who is a Caucasian, he is so proud to have been born in Africa. And she's so proud of the cultures of African people that she was willing to die defending the culture of African people. In fact, Lynda died from a TV talk show, this very TV. She left on Saturday and died on Monday. She got a stroke. She got an attack when she was right on air talking about Africa. Her last word was about Africa, defending Africa. So this woman was special. That's what people, some people simply map into me, wonder why I have a profile of a white woman and I'm a black man and I'm putting it there. Lynda was special in my life. And the way she loved Africa was so unique. That there's no way I can let that love go. She was unique. She was so genuine. And I think the Europeans use the word authentic. That's to be original or authentic. She was so authentic. It is, when Lynda tells you something, she means it, and she's genuine. She's genuine. She could disagree with me. We could argue for 30 minutes or even an hour. We are arguing, we are disagreeing, but she's genuine with me. I know she's genuine, but I simply insist on my side. But I know she's right. So she's genuine. She's genuine in whatever she says. So we lost someone, an African, that was truly African. Because many Africans today deny their Africanness. Many Africans today don't love their Africanness. We deny ourselves. We are in Africa. We support dictators. Why? Because they give us money. Why? Because dictators are in power. They want to live a good life. They give us everything. You find someone in Africa is supporting someone to kill another person. Lynda was opposing that. Lynda stood up against dictators in Africa. Lynda stood up against President Museveni. Lynda stood up against Kagame, against many of these dictators in Africa. Lynda could stand up and talk. She stood up against Buhari, against the dictators in Nigeria. She stood up against dictators in Ghana. Lynda was vocal against Ghana. You're going to be seeing pictures of her memes she was writing. She stood up against dictators in Sierra Leone, where Mambo, right there on set, is coming from. Lynda stood up against almost all dictators in Africa she could come across. She was hands-on. Yet, many people with a black skin like myself, who were educated like myself, fear to do what Lynda did. Lynda was a woman who did things that others fear to do because they don't want to be given. Everyone wants to get a visa, so they think if I talk about these things, they deny me a visa. Everyone wants to be able to travel. They think if I speak about these things, they deny me this. Me, I know it. I know they can deny me so many things because people hate what we speak. They will deny me so many chances. They will deny me so many opportunities because what you speak is true, but it hurts people. Now, when you speak a truth, and it's the ultimate truth, people are going to hate you. Remember that when you want to speak something truthful, always be able to be persecuted, always be able to stand alone. So My brother Mambo, I've spoken a lot because I was explaining the background of how I met Lynda. Of course, people have been telling them that how I met Lynda. Lynda actually met me. Lynda met me. The year is 2016. Lynda met me. I was online doing my other things. So Lynda contacts me and calls me, and then we start talking. Having seen my post, she was following me. She calls me. I think it's 2018. Yeah, 2018. She calls me, and I had just been elected board member of Humanism International. Because I remember very well that after my election, becoming a board member, Lynda picked interest in me because I was posting all over. I'm in this country, I'm in the US, I'm in Netherlands, I'm in Norway, I'm traveling, representing Africa. So she calls me and tells me, Kato, my name is Lynda. I'm a white African. She used to say, I'm a white African. I'm born of Zimbabwe. I want to talk with you. So this is how me and Lynda met. And we began talking. Every time she was asking me, what have you done for Africa? You are representing Africa in all these countries. What have you done for Africa? What good is there from this organization? So she's one person who checked my power. You know, everyone doesn't want to talk about you. Maybe some people are shy. Lynda is not shy. She tells me, you are doing nothing. Be accountable. Tell us how many NGOs have registered this year. This is how we could discuss. And I see this woman is interesting. At first, I was like, this woman is so nagging. When someone is nagging, every time he's asking, Kato, what have you done this year? What have you achieved this month? Anything new? That's how she talks. Anything new? Have you achieved anything? So I said, okay, Lynda, I think this year I've been able to, with just standing NGO in Tanzania. Hey, she says, oh, Tanzania is my country. I was there. So we click there. Say, I've been able to go to Kenya. Oh, Kenya is so good. I've been there. That's how I picked interest in Lynda. That's how our friendship grew. Because every time she calls you, she's blaming you. Me, she was blaming me in our first years. She picks a call and calls me, and she's blaming, but you haven't done this. I've seen your poster, but there's nothing here. This is not right. You haven't done this. Every time she was like my checker. Someone will say, did you vote for me? Because every time someone asks you, what have you done? What have you done? What have you done? That was Lynda. But later on, I realized that Lynda was checking my power. That Lynda wanted to find out, they elected me to represent Africa. Am I doing what I was elected to do? And this is what good people should do. Mambo, if you're given a public office and no one asks you to account, then nothing's going to go on. And this is the dilemma for Africa, that we elect presidents and they become our bosses. We elect members of parliament and they become our bosses. Now, Lynda brought that element to me. She was my checker. She was my monitor. She said, if appointed, no one appoints her. She never voted for me, but she was there to monitor me. And I was like, this woman loves me, I think. She may question me, but I think she's a good woman. So I liked her back, and our friendship grew. So finally, Lynda has worked with me for these years, almost 5 years. We have been working together, talking almost on a daily. She has been a sweet woman, you know. And none of us saw this coming. Mambo, you're going to tell your story, how she rescued you, how she became a sister to you. You're going to tell your own story. Lynda has been a sister. Lynda has been a mother to hundreds, not 100, to hundreds of people, because I'm going to explain that. Lynda has been paying school fees to hundreds of students. Lynda has been giving money to people in refugee camps, about 50 people in Kakuma refugee camp. We are getting money from Lynda on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis. People, refugees in Kakuma. Kakuma is a camp in Kenya. We are getting money from Lynda on a weekly basis. That woman was selfless. And she was helping people in South Africa with water, with so many other projects. She was helping people in Uganda. She was helping to build what we call humanist schools in Uganda. So Lynda, to us, was gold. To us as people in Africa, we had a real angel, leave alone this fictitious one we normally hear in the Bible. This was someone who is with us and wants to make us better. And someone who doesn't praise herself. She was so humble. You know, even when you are seeing her on TV, you see how humble she was. She's a very humble woman. She doesn't insult anyone. She can cut wires, yes, but she's humble. All of us can cut wires. All of us can get emotional. That's part of life. All of us have our own weaknesses. Linda had her own, but on the overall, she was a very good woman. So I want to invite you, Mambo, to talk briefly about what you remember about Lynda. How did you meet? Of course, I know, but I know the audience doesn't know. And how did she become an influential person in your life, Mambo? Mambo is from Sierra Leone. Mambo, it's your time now.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Kato, Mr. Mukasa. Um, I met Linda through a group that was formed by Kato Mukasa, the think tank Africa.
Yeah.
That was about a year ago, and she contacted me due to some horrible things that was actually happening in Sierra Leone. Of course, I'm a Sierra Leonean, and so she contacted me and said, I've heard a lot of news that is going on in your country, and I really want to, since you are there, I want you to give me some informations. And I said, okay, I will be updating you about whatever that is happening, about the human rights violations that were happening in the country. So she contacted me, and then we started conversing on WhatsApp. She sent me a message on the daily basis, and I also sent her updates about things that were actually going on. And we are, of course, the call to activism group. They usually invite me to for interviews. I was also part of it, and the friendship grew from stage to stage. And as time goes on, um, it was last year, and then our elections were about to actually hold. So what really happened? There was a lot of protest about the way the election processes were actually going on, about bad governance in my country and all. So because of that, protesters were being killed, and the ruling government was actually chasing out people, killing. There were a lot of killings all over the country. So I was actually giving her updates on that. So there was a day um, that I was at home, and after the August 10, it was on August 10, there was a nationwide protest in Sierra Leone, and over 21 people were killed on that day, and also officers also because of the way the military and the police were actually killing protesters. So the protesters again revenge, and then they also started killing the police. So there was a total of 6 police officers that were killed on that day. So I was actually giving her a lot of those reports. And on that day, I went to a radio station and talked about the human rights violation. So I became a target since that day. My house was burned down, and family members were killed, friends and other relatives. So I got in touch with Lynda, and Lynda said, no. Now, since you are on the list of, since we are, since you are on a blacklist of the ruling government, I will not want you to stay. That was Lynda. She said, if you stay, you are actually going to lose your life. So of course I was like, I really want to stay until after the election. And she was like, please don't stay. If you want to stay, go at the extreme border, because we actually share border between Sierra Leone has a border with Liberia and Guinea. So she was advising that I should cross over to Liberia or to Guinea, that she would help me for me not to lose my life. And I was actually in the hiding, and at that stage where I was, to travel from my position where I was to the border, it was over 100 miles. So I was actually thinking, how will I travel now? So Lynda would call me in the morning, She will call me in the evening. She will call me in the afternoon. In fact, Lynda will send me message until she will say, "Oh, I think I'll send you a whole lot of book today to read." I'll say, "No worry, it is because of you that I'll find every way possible to live." And she was always on my back that I should live. In fact, my mom used to say, it's like I am not the one who gave birth to you anymore. It's like, Lynda have taken you away from me. That was the Lynda. She will call me in the morning, she will call me in the evening to just check if I'm alive, if what is happening with me, what is going on around my environment, what is happening with my friends, what is happening with my family, what is happening with people that I know. That was the Lynda. Lynda actually helped. If I will say, it is because of Lynda that I am here today. It is because of Lynda that I am alive today. If there was no Lynda, then there should be no Mambu today. If there was no Lynda during those times, there should be no Mambu today. So when I heard about that morning when I woke up and I check your Facebook, because every morning there are two people that I always, if I woke up in the morning, I take my phone. There are two people I always check on their Facebook. And if I check on their Facebook, I always have information. That is Kato Mukasa and Lynda Tilley. Every morning, the sooner I woke up from my bed, I'll go to Facebook, I'll check. Kato, what is happening? I will know what is happening in the world, what is happening in Africa, what is happening all over the world. And then I'll also check on Lynda, and I will know what is happening in the world, what is happening in Africa. And then I go to my WhatsApp. I will definitely I will get the message from Lynda. It was on a daily basis. I will always get a message, about 20, 15 messages from Lynda. She will explain. Lynda was an open-minded person. She was actually open-minded. She has no secret. She will tell you everything from her heart, and she will tell you with genuity. She will tell you with genuity, and she was very, very, very accountable. And she was also looking for people who are accountable. She was against corruption in every level. In every level, she was against it. So the morning I woke up and Lynda said, "Emmanuel, today you must leave. There is no way you will sleep in Sierra Leone." I said, "I'm ready." So that morning, because I made up my mind, and she sent me money. It was around, and then I said, "I will leave, but I will not leave during the day. I will leave at night." And she said, "Okay, at any hour you are ready, you and I will be traveling together. You will not travel alone. I will be with you. No matter where you are, just call." And she even sent me map of my own country, the route that I should take. She will send me a map. She will go on Google, search for map, and then send it to me. And then, "This is the route that you should use to move." I said, "Okay." And then she asked me, "Mambu, do you trust me?" I said, "Yes. Since we've met over a month, the way you have been with me, the way you've been directing me, there is no way I will not trust you. There is no way that I will not believe in you. I trust you 100%. And then she said, "Okay, now I'm ready for us. I'm ready for you to move." And I said, "Okay." So I decided and I leave. I was in Liberia. Lynda was with me. Even on the way, on the border, when I met the border crossing out, she was like, "What is happening now? Have they asked you? Have you moved from this stage? Have you moved?" That was the Lynda. As if we have met in person. And I never met Lynda in person. We were only on phone, only on this internet. And she was very, 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 very concerned about my life. And indeed, I left. I came to Liberia. I stayed about a week. I leave Liberia to Ghana. I was in Ghana. Lynda was with me. Lynda make sure I never lacked anything. I will not even ask. She will even be the one. In fact, there were days she will ask me, "Have your data run off?" I'll say no. And then she will not ask me the other day. She will send it. She will send it because she's like, she was thinking, "Oh, today Mambu will need this. Tomorrow Mambu will need this." And she will always make sure that I lack nothing, that I actually lack nothing. She made sure I was in Ghana. She did everything for me. she really, really supported me. She was like a mom to me. I used to call her mom. I used to call her my backbone. She was my backbone. She was my supporter. She was my everything. It is because of Lynda that I am alive today. It is because of Lynda. So that morning when I woke up and I heard that news, I read it from Kato's Facebook. My whole body went down. It was like a bucket of water pour on my head, cold water. I nearly go off. And then it took me over 30 minutes to actually comprehend or to actually believe that this is true. And then I didn't actually believe, but because the source where I got the information from, and I said, no, Kato will never say something wrong. Kato is always honest with whatever he posts on his Facebook. So, being that I got this information directly from Kato's Facebook, I know this is true. It took me an hour. I was in tears. I cried more than 3 days. And then I called you that day. I said, Kato, the moment I called you, you knew what I called you. You knew the reason why I called you for. And then you told me that we have lost Lynda. And before before I heard about the news of Lynda's death, we spoke. I think it was on the Friday. Yes, on a Friday. And then you had a show on a Saturday. So she talked to me. The last protest that was in the country, I sent a lot of pictures for her. In fact, there was a man who she was about to help. After the protest, the military were actually chasing out, because people were pointing out people that these were the protesters, these were the ones that organize this protest, these were the ones that organize this. So people were pointing at each other. And then there was a builder. He was at his site building a house. So the military came and shot him in his leg. And the bullet went through his penis. I took that video, I sent it to Lynda. Lynda cried a whole day. The next morning she called me. What can we do to help that man? And then I get in touch with the man's family. It took him 3 days without him going to hospital because there was no money. Lynda said, I will look for people to help him. Tell him to go to hospital and check. Whatever is the case, whatever is the doctor's report, share it with me. I will find a way for him to get his healing. And indeed, on that day, the man went to hospital. He was admitted. He was in the hospital when I heard the news that Lynda is dead. Since that day, that man, I never even shared this information with you, Kato.
Yeah, I do.
That man couldn't survive when I told him that the person that was trying to.
That is too bad. You're going to be back in a minute. I know network is a problem there. Don't continue. Continue.
When I told him that the person, the woman that was behind you, to get your healing, the woman that actually wanted you, to get you hospitalized and then try to you to be strong again, is dead. 3 days after, the man actually gave up a ghost. They called me and they told me that the man, your patient that was in the hospital, that you said somebody wants to help, is dead because of Lynda's death. After 3 days, the man couldn't survive because the man knew that the only source of hope had gone. And then he gave up a ghost. Today, as I'm talking to you, the wife is there with the daughter and the son. They couldn't go to school. There is no support. Even what to eat, they don't have it. Because Lynda was the one that tried actually to support them. And then even myself, when I read that Lynda is dead on that day in your Facebook, I thought my whole world has gone. I thought I've lost everything. It was when you took up They said, no, we will continue from where Lynda stopped. We will continue her legacy. So so now that I'm talking to you, see, even my words are being nervous. I don't know actually. I won't. When I'm talking about Lynda, my whole body begins to nerve because I couldn't up to today. I couldn't believe that Lynda is no more. Lynda was actually a mother to Africa.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's a very good one. You have said so many words that are good to quote. One, you said that Lynda saved your life. Number two, the man couldn't survive because Lynda died. Number three, that Lynda was indeed a mother for Africa. I've just quoted the three statements from your brief talk. You talked briefly, but you are on point, and I was able to pick 3 points. Now, Lynda saved your life, which is true. Lynda had wanted to save a life of another man, and because of her death, the man also died, which is another fact. And the third fact that Lynda was a mother for Africa. And these are 3 facts about Lynda. But I can tell you, in the book, I've documented over 50 facts about Lynda. People will be surprised. And I'm going to give this book out for free. I'm here on the network. I have put in all the sleepless nights, but I'm giving this book out for free. I don't need any money from this book because I loved Lynda, and because when I was writing, I never thought about money. In fact, ever since I began my writing career, I have never thought about money. In fact, those who know me, they know that I always give out my books for free. That's me, Katomakasa. I have never set out to write to get money. But again, when it comes to a friend I love like Lynda, I have to give the books right away for free. In fact, all the books that are printed in Uganda are going out for free. So those who are watching us in Uganda, we have copies printed and expensively printed, but are going out for free. For free. That's how Lynda meant to us. That's how Lynda touched our lives. That we always challenge ourselves and say, what can we do? Lynda, I've been saying this, Mambo, that selfishly, I say it, that it's going to be hard to get another Lynda. When Lynda died, my statement was that there will be no other Lynda. And I meant it. Because I have lived long enough to understand people. I have lived long enough to know how hypocritical people are. People are hypocrites, Mambo. People are hypocrites. Many people in the world here pretend to love you when basically they don't love you at all.
Yes.
Many people pretend to like you when they don't like you at all. So me, who is a philosopher in a way, who grew up knowing the cycle of people, I know that I cannot trust people that much. Okay? But Lynda, I could trust. I could trust. And let me tell you something very funny. This internet you see, people underestimate the internet. Mambo, I met you in 2016.
Yes.
I've met you for quite a number of years, but I've never met you
Yes.
physically.
Yes.
I have never
Yes.
met you physically. So some of us must learn to appreciate technology. We must appreciate people like Bill Gates. We must appreciate people like Mark, this young man, Mark Zuckerberg. We should appreciate people who use their brains to think. This is what we need in Africa. That Mark starts Facebook, that Bill Gates starts the computer and all that. Of course, there is a man called Alan Turing who is behind the computer, a gay man who died sometime back in the UK, a gay man behind computing. We must start appreciating good brains the world has given us. People like Alan Turing, the man behind the computer, people like Bill Gates, people like Mark Zuckerberg. We should appreciate them. We should. They may have their own limitations, but we should appreciate. Why? Facebook made me meet you in 2016. And because of Facebook, I recruited you into a program I called Human Celebrants Training Africa. The year is 2016. I meet Mambo. I've never met Mambo physically, but I've met Mambo. I'm using the word, borrowing it spiritually. I'm borrowing it. I've met Mambo internet-wise. We are net citizens, but we have become brothers. That Mambo, as I speak, has gone to my home. Mambo, as I speak, has met my mother, but I've never met Mambo. But I assure my mother, Mambo is a good man. The man I've sent you, the man who's meeting my mother, Mambo has met my mother, has entered my house, has seen my sitting room. Mambo has seen my home. So, but I trust you because the network we have, the family of humanism we have, makes me trust you. Now, I go back to Lynda. That the way I met you and trusted you, and we talked online, we do video calls. When I do a video call with you, I see you. I don't need to touch you. I see you. And when I talk with you, I gauge your brain. Me, I'm a psych. I read people's minds. That's what I'm blessed with. That's the intelligence I have. I look at you, I know how bad you are. I can look at someone within an hour, I know we cannot be friends with this person. Me. That's how I'm trained. I stay with you for a week, I know I cannot continue with you. That's why I have very few friends in life. I have very few friends because I decide so early that I cannot be friends with you, and that's it. Now, when I met in 2016, I knew we could click. Yet in your club of Sierra Leoneans, we are like 15 maybe. There are many. I won't even mention the names, but how many did I meet with? How many did I keep? Maybe about 4 from a group of about 15 people in Sierra Leone, because the rest, I couldn't click. Now, to me, meeting physically is useless. In the age of the internet, we can meet virtually and we can connect. I didn't meet Lynda physically. I should tell you this, and people wonder. I didn't. I was in Uganda. She was in South Africa. We never met. She always told me, come and meet me, come and visit me, come and visit me. Even when I went to the UK, she blamed me for coming to the UK. She told me they will never like you, they will discriminate you. She told me so much bad things about the UK. She told me they will never like you, they are going to discriminate you, come to South Africa. And I've documented, because that was her voices. I have the voices. That was her conversation. She really didn't want me to actually come here. She was like, you would have come here. Here, I would have loved you. I would have lived with you happily. You see? And if someone loves you, Mambo, what do? You love them back.
Back, yes.
It's like when you have a dog. I've grown up with dogs in my family, in my village. I've grown up with cats, animals. I love animals. I love dogs. Now, when you love a dog is so royal. A dog loves you back. When you love a cat is so royal. A cat loves you back. Love. If you are doing well, someone calls you to find out if you have eaten. Like when I'm sick, she knows when I'm sick. She asks me, have you taken the medicine? After 2 hours, she will send me a message. Kato, how are you? Yet even my own relatives cannot do that. But she will nag you for a full day. Meanwhile, she's in the field, she's in South Africa, she's where, but she will remember to send you a message, say, how are you doing? Now, if someone Mambo loves you, you have no excuse not to love them back. And number 2, yes, you don't need to meet them to touch, because what do you want with touching me? Because Lynda always wanted me to go and she can touch my skin. She always wanted me, come meet me. But I never had the chance to go. But we had met, our hearts had met. We had connected. We are talking every day. What else did I need? I was meeting her. She was telling me how her day has gone, how her week has gone, what are plans for next week. Now, if you can plan for next week with someone, what do I want with physical meeting? If she can tell me her history from A up to Z, what do I need with physical meeting? Because the internet has solved the problem. There are many humans in the world, very good people I have met in life, online. People I love dearly in America, in Canada, in Australia, people I love dearly in Scotland, in London, but I've never met them physically. But by the virtue of internet, we have been video talking. If I talk with someone, I see their face. What else do I want, Mambo? I've met this person. I've known this person that way. Virtually, we have met. If you can talk every day, every week, I know this person, she knows me. So this is the love we had. And to conclude this part, I'm saying that Africa is going to miss Lynda. And we have to work so hard to produce someone who can work halfway what Lynda was doing. And I'm repeating that, someone who can work only 50% of what Lynda was doing. I was with my senior, Paul Iwan, now you know him. We had a meeting, three of us with Lynda. And in that meeting, I told Mr. Paul that, Mr. Paul, my name is Paul, he's also Paul. But I told him jokingly that I don't use my name because my mother uses it. My mother calls me Paul, no one else calls me Paul. But I told Mr. Paul that, look, this Lynda woman you see works, the way Lynda works, her energy equals to 5 men. The work energy of Lynda, one person, Lynda, was equating to 5 hard-working men. And I'm using men athletically because of the muscle, the what, that was Lynda. Lynda sits down on a laptop and works. Lynda could call me at 3 a.m. in the night to ask me something. I'm sleeping. She calls me. You are sleeping? We need something to do here. There's something I want you to consult. I'm consulting. There's something I want you to advise me. It is 4 a.m. She's calling you. She's working on a paper. Tomorrow there's a deadline. She's submitting tomorrow. Now she wants your input that time. And you don't say, I'm sleeping. Because for her, she's working. Now, a hard-working woman like that, and tomorrow she will be in the field in South Africa, she will be testing water projects, she will be here and there. She's working. Tomorrow she's talking about South Africa, she's talking about Sierra Leone, she's in Nigeria, she's in Ghana, she's everywhere. And Lynda, you have said your story that she rescued you. I can mention about 10 names of people Lynda rescued from Uganda, including people she rescued and took in her own home in South Africa. People that were being killed by the dictatorship in Uganda. She rescued them the way she did to you, sending money, being on the phone. That was Lynda's work. She was rescuing people in Uganda to escape and find a free zone. She was rescuing people in Nigeria. She was rescuing people in Ghana. All these testimonies are there. You know, people who went to a safer zone because of her. As I told you, there are 50 families, not individuals, 50 families, about 50 families in Kakuma. Kakuma is a refugee camp in Kenya. All these families are alive because of Lynda. Now, because of these things she has done for Africa, things she has done for human beings, the school fees she has paid, the schools whose fundraising she has done, Eagles Primary School of Rogers, Mwanguzi. I was expecting this to be on, but of course I can't bring mine on because I know the challenges of the internet these days is erratic. Internet is on and off in Africa. Everyone will be commenting on their own time. But of course, I've been getting obituaries. Our book is full of obituaries. We will see. Now we have a copy, Mambo. Lynda was a special person to us. One thing she taught me, so many things, but one thing was that if you are going to serve, you must forget yourself. Okay? It is one thing I had in me, but I found it in her. But because for me, when I'm working on something, in most cases, I forget myself. It is called putting service above self. Putting service above self. You put your work, your world, your definition of life purpose above your individuality. Like, for example, if you had 10,000 in your pocket, and there is Mambo in Sierra Leone, he lacks medicine, and they need about 9,000, Lynda will give you 9,000, and she'll remain with 1,000. She had only 10,000 in her life, but Lynda is one woman who's going to give you 9,000, and she will remain with 1,000, but she has 2 children to feed. Lynda will tell me, Kato, I don't have food in the house. And I asked why. Because I gave out the money I had. Now, where do you find such a person? And she's telling me honestly, she sent me food and said, you see, I'm taking tea because as I speak now, I have no money. I've given it out. Now, this is Lynda. I've bought so and so airtime. She puts others before herself. But today, me and you, where do you find such people? You know, people who value others before themselves. She even forgets her own daughter, her own son, that they have needs. And she says, but I had to send it to so and so. He wanted it more. He wanted it more. This one can wait. She sacrifices even the lives of her own children for the sake of helping others. That's why I was like, Lynda gave us a debt of gratitude. We have something to pay back. You know, that goodness. People talk about mythical Jesus, mythical Muhammad, mythical things. People who they don't know that they existed doing good, but they say they did good. But for us, we have lived in a country, in a world where we have seen people doing good. There are many other people who do good like Lynda, I know. There are many other people who do good like Lynda, but she was exceptional. Why? Because Lynda was not a rich woman. I should tell you this, and the viewers. Lynda never had much. Lynda was not a rich woman, but Lynda, materially, financially, was not rich. But Lynda was rich when we said it as Africans. Her heart was rich. Her heart was full. That as I've given an example of having 10,000, and we give 9 to Mambo, and we stay with 1,000, but we have 2 children, and you don't know what to feed them tomorrow. But you give out whatever you have to another needed person. But as you know, Africa, Mambo, our problems don't end. Our problems don't end. And imagine you have 100 Mambos. Nigeria has, Ghana has, Uganda has, Tanzania has, Kenya has, Liberia is having, and all those countries I mentioned, you know, I had contacts there. And I've documented them in the book. South Africa has now, you have about 13 countries, all of them with people that look up to survive.
Yes.
Now, when I call Lynda the unsung hero of Africa, this is what I mean when I give her that title. That despite the good things she did, some people fought her. And I will end on this, then we'll go into the slides. That despite all the good things she did, because humans are inherently evil, humans are inherently selfish, humans are inherently bad. When I say inherently, you know what I mean? That there's something naturally wrong with human beings, that even when she did everything for them, they still never valued her. They still fought her. You get it? Not all of them, but some. That I was always annoyed to go on a WhatsApp page, not a WhatsApp, on a Facebook group, and I found people, racist black people, insulting Lynda because she's a white woman who talks about African issues and attacking African presidents. Now, because someone supports a president like Museveni or Ramaphosa or a president X and Y, and Lynda goes on a platform on Facebook and say Ramaphosa is bad, Museveni is bad, someone who supports Museveni comes and say, you white woman, why do you comment issues about Africa? You see? And I said, look, these black people are racists. And I've been saying it over and over, that actually racism starts in Africa. And when I say it, people don't actually know it. And today I'm going to qualify it. I normally say that racism starts in Africa. When a Caucasian goes in Africa, I will tell you this because I've worked with Caucasians. You call them white people. I don't call them white people. I call them Caucasians. When a Caucasian goes to Africa, I've worked with them for over 20 years. And we work in a village in Africa. Little children are going to call him or her Muzungu, Muzungu, Muzungu. Now, this is my country. I'm going to give you an example. Now, I was with this Norwegian mentor, friend of mine called Gunnar Olefsen. I worked with him for about 15 years. And I went to Norway, I think 3 times. Now, this Norwegian friend of mine used to come to Uganda because I worked with him for many years. And I was working on a project which they sponsored. And I was the manager of the project. Now, whenever I would work with Gunnar in the villages of Uganda, people would say, Muzungu, 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 that kind of attention. Now, when you are Caucasian and you are surrounded by black people who point fingers at you with excitement, by the way, they are even laughing, you begin wondering, why are they looking at me? Why are they waving at me? Why are they pointing fingers at me? And why are they calling me that word? Now, with the time, you know that the word Muzungu means a white, I'm putting it in quotes, means the Caucasian. Now, he told me that, Kato, this is not good for Africa. Why are they referring to me using my skin color? Don't you think that I'm a human being too? Now, when Gunnar told me that statement, it hit me hard. And I began saying it to people, that actually this is racism. If I am in the United Kingdom and the people begin calling me black man, black man, black man, how will I feel? Do you get my analysis? This is what we want Africans to think. I'm an African, but I hate racism. And I've been telling my people, stop being racist. Black people, you are racists. Stop being racist. And you are ignorantly racist. You look at a Chinese and begin to say, Chinese, Chinese. A Chinese is a human being. I see them in my home area. Hey, Chinese is there. A Chinese is a human being, for heaven's sake, if heaven exists. A Caucasian is a human being. How do you feel, Nana, Mambu, if someone calls you, you are in a group of white people, they are not white people, they are Caucasians, and so, black man, black man, black man, how do you feel? You know, it's a racist, derogatory, inflammatory, very bad way. You get my analysis? So, who points this one to me is a man I worked with who was my supervisor, who was my mentor for 15 years, a man called Gunnar Olafsson, a Norwegian man. I went to his home. I used to sleep in his home in Norway. We are good friends. But he tells me, Kato, when you come to Norway, do they call you black man, black man, black man? They don't. Why do I come to a country and they refer to me by my skin shade? Yet, they think they are not racist. You get it? So this one hit me hard, and I said, look, Africans claim that they are not racist, but actually they are the worst racists. But they do this racism without knowing. For them, they think that racism is in America, racism is elsewhere. Racism is live and kicking in Africa. In fact, racism might have begun in Africa. So, when people were hitting Lynda so hard on Facebook, I would face them and hit them so bad. I would defend her like a lion and say, stop being stupid, stop being racist. This woman is an African. This woman is doing more for Africa than you black-skinned people. She's more African to me than you. So until we grow up in Africa and realize that all of us are human beings, all of us deserve to live, and Africa belongs to all of us. Remember, a person like Lynda is born in Africa. A person like Lynda has known Africa. She has been a student in Africa. She has served her life in Africa. How dare you start calling her a foreigner in her own continent? You get it? So these are things which I point out in the book I've written for Lynda. Finally, it took me about 30 days to write this book. It's on record. It's the only book I've ever written in a very short time. Why? Because I had the skeleton of much of it written down already, that I was simply picking here and there. Now, Mambo, I'm going to invite Dennis to take us through what we have prepared for slides and the video as we wait for other people to join us online. Then we shall launch the book and then we shall move forward. Dennis, my brother, I want to welcome you to...
We cannot do any of this, Kato, as a divided, broken continent. We can only do it as a united Africa, because we all have these issues, and one or two countries asking for this themselves. Do we honestly think that it's going to be granted in a few countries? Then everybody else is going to come on board and they're going to have to do it for everybody. We have to stand together. First of all, I think it's very un-African to beg of the Europeans. It goes against our honor and pride as African people. I think it's actually disgraceful myself to beg. I, as a white person, will never beg from another white person. Why do that? It's so symbolic of slavery and of the old colonial regime, where the white people were the ones that the black people had to beg and ask things from. I just don't agree with it at all. So it's actually very sad that the mental... there's so much there that's still ingrained into black African people, and will be for a long time. That's why we have to get our education and things right in Africa, so that people can start learning the truth about what has happened to us. And like I say, we don't want tit for tat vindictiveness. We just want the truth to be known, and we want our people to be honoured, and for the British to own up. The reason why our history is hidden and our artifacts are hidden, one of the reasons, is because if everybody in Africa knew the true history of the brutality inflicted on us, and I'm not talking just about the things that we all know about, big genocides and massacres and things, but all the other little things and the little brainwashing techniques that were introduced into our education system and everything like that, people would really, even white people, racist whites, I'm sure, would do a double take and say, sure, we've been so wrong all these years, if it can be backed up as it is with factual evidence. We have to stop being beholden to the West.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you so much, Brian, for that video. That is Lynda, as you have seen in the video. That is Lynda talking to us. Remember, Lynda talked to us for so many years. We have so many videos of Lynda, and we shall keep on playing them now. I'm going to take you through a photo. I won't be able to comment about it, but I want to show you the other life of Lynda. What did she do? What did she say? Please take a listen and take a look. That is Lynda Tilley in the photos there. That is our sister, Lynda Tilley, the one we worked with religiously, faithfully. We dedicated all that we could do at work with her. Dennis, run the photos very fast, please, because there are quite many. I beg you to run them a bit faster, please, so we can be able to be within the time we have allocated ourselves to do this work. Dennis, run them a bit faster, please. Dennis, if you can hear me, that's Lynda. Please, yeah. Yes, and now you can see there part of the people that Lynda has been sponsoring in Kakuma refugee camps. You can see the mattresses. Lynda found these guys not able to even sleep on a mattress. They have babies. They are refugees from Uganda. And Lynda was able to buy them mattresses. Lynda was able to buy them mattresses, you know. And Lynda has done so many good things for people in Africa, supporting about 50 families in one refugee camp and giving them money on a weekly basis. To me, it is something which is noble. Giving them money. Look at how these children are sleeping. In Kakuma, before Lynda bought them mattresses. Before Lynda bought them mattresses, look at how these people were sleeping. And these are 50 families which means these are hundreds of children. 50 families. A family may have about 4 people. Now, these are some of the, you see, this was designed by Lynda. That was designed by Lynda, UNHCR Kakuma Camp, Kenya, speak up for Ugandan LGBTQ refugee rights. LGBTQ Ugandan refugees are targeted, attacked, and done everything bad. Lynda wrote so much about Kakuma. If you go to her page, you are going to see these things. Women being ganga raped in Kakuma. Women being ganga raped in Kakuma. I have put this in the book. These are the campaigns Lynda did for Africa. You can see she's speaking up for Zimbabwe. She's speaking up for Zambia. She's speaking up for Kakuma refugees. Lynda was speaking every time writing campaigns about Lynda. She's speaking up for Uganda here. She's calling for the end of the genocide in Uganda. She talked about Kalamoja killings for a long time. Here she talked about Nigeria. Here she's talking about Sierra Leone. Look at those campaigns Lynda she was talking about. All over Africa, Lynda was there. This is Ghana. You can see Ghana, human rights abuses in Ghana. She's talking about LGBTI rights. 46 people in West Africa, Togoland, being under detention. Lynda was an advocate for Mbala Bala. Lynda loved this young man, Mbala Bala. And all of us love him. We want him to get out of the prison, but Lynda loved him more because Lynda spent sleepless nights going to bad regions. She's a Caucasian going to tackle Islamist extremists to tell them release Mbalak Bala. You know, Lynda was so good at writing. All these things were made by Lynda. Some of these memes. Of course, you could pick from great writers, great speakers like Kwame Nkrumah, Africa is one continent, one people, and one nation. That was Lynda's slogan. Always, Africa is one continent, one people, and one nation. Lynda never believed in tribalism, racism, divisionism. She wanted us to be one. And we can say that was her poster. She wanted to talk about a united Africa. Africa must be united. Africa must be one. That was Lynda. This was the poster which marked Lynda so much to me. She wrote this poster, and the poster says, "Stop allowing yourselves to be split by religion, race, tribe, gender, orientation, country or state or region, province. All good humans must unite." That was Lynda's poster. She made that poster. Lynda was good with the computers. She could always make her own posters. One of the posters picked from the 1960s is this one, People Before Profit. Lynda hated capitalism, but also Lynda hated apartheid in South Africa. Lynda used to tell me, look, cattle in South Africa, the Caucasians still own more land. And they hate me because I'm a Caucasian like them, but I don't support their land grabbing policies. That was Lynda. She says, I'm like them, but I don't support what they do. It's wrong. Look at this. This was Lynda's quote from Mary Davis. In a racist society, it is not enough to be non-racist. We must be anti-racist. That was a quote Lynda loved so much. And she was referring to South Africa, her own country, where she was by the time of her death. She said there was too much racism in South Africa. Now, goodbye Sudan, goodbye Egypt, hello MENA. MENA was of course, the North Africa, she talked about MENA and Waking Up Africa, where she was afraid that there was a tendency of alienating North Africa from the rest of Africa. She wanted Africa united. And here was Lynda's meme of, which was really a catchword. She used to say, God is not coming to save Africa. God is not coming to save Africa. Stop thanking the imaginary being. Here she says, remove God from African schools. She had a campaign, remove gods from African schools. Remove gods from African schools. Schools must be free from gods. Lynda paid school fees for so many people. Lynda paid school fees for so many people. These are things you are going to read on your own. You're going to find them in her book. I've put everything there in her book. You're going to find them there. So she talked about nomadic tribes and how we can make them better. Our life as people with ancient knowledge, great skills. We are not primitive. We have naked eyes. We can think. We can reason. We don't need to follow Western traditions and culture. That was Lynda. She was to say, We don't need to follow Western traditions and cultures. We must follow our own cultures and our own traditions. And I support her 100%. Victory to the freedom fighters of Southern Africa. Lynda was a warrior, Victory, independence for Zimbabwe. That was Lynda. Lynda was born in Zimbabwe. So Lynda loved Zimbabwe. Lynda wanted Zimbabwe to be free. She was very proud of her own origin as Zimbabwe. This was the famous quote from Lynda. Always remember it. She said, all humanists are atheists, but not all atheists are humanists. Lynda Tilley, African humanist. She said, all humanists are atheists, but not all atheists are humanists. Lynda Tilley, African humanist. This is Lynda again with another quote. Here she says that all the people of Africa are joint custodians of our collective heritage by nature of our birthright, and we will continue to correct Africa's believed yet false history penned by our oppressors, request the return of our stolen artifacts and remains of our ancestors, expose the slave masters' control tool of religion until our people still enslaved by it are all finally free. Our descendants will continue after us until our mother Africa returns to her rightful place in this world. We, her children, are the only ones who love her enough to serve her. As proud African people, it is our duty to restore her honor. Lynda Tilley, African Kingdom of Birth, Mopata. That was Lynda, Lynda was so intelligent, I can tell you. Lynda supported that book, The Fall of African Civilization. The book is by Helu Ebenezer Precious. Lynda supported that book so much with a gentleman called Todd Meyer. Todd Meyer, I know you're watching this. Todd Meyer is an American gentleman. Todd Meyer, I want to thank you again for sponsoring Lynda. For sponsoring, not Lynda, but for sponsoring Helu to write that book and print it. Lynda wrote for me this one. Lynda loved me, wrote for me this one. When I authored this book, this is what Lynda wrote for me as a review so that I can get more followers reading it. She wrote this way. She said that Kato Mukasa, the author, is a talented writer whose books are thought-provoking and written with great insight and heart. Lovely. He exposes the charm of religion particularly well, and his books on humanism in Africa are a must-read. Story legitimacy about evil dictator who rules Uganda still to this day, is an accurate depiction of what is happening in Africa today, and I applaud him for his bravery as a truth-speaking, fact-based writer in the release of this book. Definitely an author to include on everyone's bookshelf. That was Lynda's book review for me. That's how Lynda talked about me in her lifetime. You can go and find that review on Amazon. It's out there. Now, this is the book I wrote, and I gave it to Lynda after writing it. Lynda encouraged me to write this book. It's called Mama Africa Tell Your Story. I wrote it for Africa and for the world, and Lynda wrote the foreword, very beautiful foreword. I wish you go and get this copy. You will see how brainy Lynda was in writing this book. Now, this is our last show with Lynda. It was Saturday, September 23rd of this year. She died on Monday, September 25th of this year. This was our last show. You can see Lynda was on a poster, and you can see we had guests from Zambia. Now, this was our last show. And when you check this show, Lynda began choking on that very show. She had a problem we never knew. She began choking on that show, and she couldn't rest. She wanted Africa, she wanted Zambia, she wanted Zimbabwe. Every time she wanted to talk about Africa. And she died right after this show. She got this kind of problem right after the show. So that's why some of us are more attached to Lynda's life, because she has been part of us, and of course she has been with us all throughout. This is our plan. You may ask me. Now, number one, we want to build an administrative block and classrooms in memory of Lynda. You ask me, what are you going to do about Lynda? Number one, we want to build a school in memory of her name. We want to build an administrative block, we want to build some classrooms, and we are going to do so. We shall find ways to do so and ensure that it is named after her name, and then we'll be able to say, Lynda, thank you so much. Number two, we as Africans, we want to award her for the work done for African humanism. We want to have an award. We are going to organize ourselves and start having awards. And the number one recipient is going to be Lynda Tilley for the work she did for Africa. Why don't you award people when they are still alive? We are going to start now and think about it as African humanists. Number three, we want to start having a memorial lecture on every 25th September to remember her. So what are we going to do? Number three, we are going to be having a memorial lecture on every 25th September to remember her. We shall be here every 25th of September, and we shall also have lectures in different countries. I will travel to Zambia, I will travel to Malawi, I will travel to Nigeria, I will travel to Kenya, I will travel to these countries and talk about Lynda. We shall have what she did so that we can be able to inspire others. We shall have memorial lectures, but also use them to build Africa, use them to market our TV, use these lectures to take our message forward. So we shall have memorial lectures, but we use them to build Africa, to move forward, to raise money, to have projects. We shall always have these memorial lectures on the 25th day of September. And in these lectures, we shall also be giving out awards. Now, if you ask me what I'm going to do, we shall be giving awards on every 25th of September. And the first recipient is going to be Lynda Tilley. Now, the next thing we want to do, we want to make more copies of our book and then distribute these books fund-wide. Of course, we want to give these books out for free. As long as we can have the money to do that, we shall give these books out for free. People to read this message, to read the brain, the thinking of Lynda, we need to give it out for free. We are giving these books out for free. Lastly, we plan to build a classroom block at this place and name it after Lynda. I'm going to show you a place where you want to build a school. There is a school called Hillside Nursery and Orphanage School, and this school is in Uganda. This photo, this graph, this picture was made by Lynda. How do I call it? This poster? This poster was crafted by Lynda. Lynda was sponsoring this school with lunch. This school, which has about 100 students, Lynda was sending them money for them to have lunch every day. That's how noble she was. Lynda was sending money to this school to have lunch. These orphanages to have lunch every day. But Lynda would go without lunch. But she sends money to people, students at this orphanage, nursery school and primary, to have lunch. That is how big-hearted she was. Now, this is the school we want to build. Look at this school. It's in bad state. It is mud and water. Very, very poor school. But Lynda was buying them lunch. Now we are thinking, look, they are studying below under trees, you know. They don't usually have classrooms. It's a reality. So we want to build this school and put it in the memory of Lynda. They have a very poor area. You can see mud and water, you know. This school, we honestly want to help it to remember Lynda, because after all, Lynda had chosen it, and Lynda was buying food for these students every day lunch. And look at this school. Look at it. Look at how poor the buildings are. It's somewhere in Kasese, Western Uganda, Hillside Nursery and Orphanage School. We want to give some support to this school. And very soon, we shall be launching a fundraiser to start raising money. Please, I encourage you, when I call out this fundraiser, we shall be targeting to build this school. We want to build something there, and we remember Lynda. We call it Lynda Tilley classroom block, Lynda Tilley administrative block. We want to put there something down and give these students a good life so that they can also be able to study in a good environment. Now, don't ask me what you want to do. I've already said what we want to do to remember Lynda. I've given a map, a roadmap, which we want to do to remember Lynda. Now, I'm going to call my brother Mambu. Mambu, you have seen it all. Of course, you know it. Mambu, I want to invite you to read only one tribute, one part, a letter from Balak Bala, which is a tribute to Lynda. Please read it for the viewers. Then we shall move forward, my friend Mambo. Over to you, my friend.
Thank you very much. Mubarak Bala obituary for Lynda Tilley. Tribute To Lynda Tilley, the superwoman of Africa Humanism. It reads, I don't even know how to begin. I'm still reeling out of shock of this abrupt and shocking news. I feel I lost a family member, not just a friend and a confidant. I have hoped that I'll meet Lynda Tilley in life, when by May of this year it becomes apparent that I will be here in jail up to the next year. I said to Lynda, it's time to visit me in jail. So visit Nigeria by end of the year. She said yes. I also thought of that. When I came to Abuja 12 months ago on transfer, I met Lynda already at home with my family. So we immediately bonded even before I got to see the work she has dedicated to her 3 years to on my predicament, and how she worked tirelessly and selflessly, going against many, the Nigerian government, the United Nations, and even humanist organizations, even against my lawyer and advocate, whom she believed have committed mistakes or lapses, misprioritized the whole case over the years. Lynda even recently began to blame me for not asking enough, not pushing enough, not fighting enough to be free, as if I am enjoying my chain already or suffering from some sort of Stockholm's syndrome. I seems to her as part of the problem, and so a hindrance to her efforts to get me out of jail. She was faster than me, faster than the whole process, and faster than Nigerians' legal system. I gradually got to understand her not just as a humanist, but as a Pan-Africanist, a social worker, a human rights defender, a leading advocate for sub-Saharan hegemony in social and economic impact at the grassroots level. Lynda, as I came to understand her, seems more passionate than ever, even Africans, about Africa and the heritage, because she could see the future beyond what lies in her midst. Beyond the horizon, she saw a future brighter and promising for Africa to sort its many problems and stand tall in the community of nations. Lynda is more Pan-African than many of us. She is passionate about democracy, for good governance, and for transparency in government. She is meticulous with records and day-to-day running of humanism across the continent. She's dogged and, of course, talkative, and does not care whose ox she goes. I'm still finding it hard to refer to Lynda in the past tense. I still can't absorb the shock that she indeed is gone. I'm proposing an African Humanist Award in Lynda's name, approved by the committees of all the African humanist organizations she is involved with, whether in a positive or negative way, as she had inevitable clash with many humanist organizations in her personal quest to see results faster than any excuse offered. Maybe too hasty, but I always hoped and knew infinitely she meant well. I have had to disagree with Lynda's method several times and caution her to follow procedures or await patiently outcomes as formal as they could come true. The bureaucracy, Lynda wouldn't have any of that. When I learned that Lynda and her friend had at one time mulled the possibility of kidnapping me away at court appearance, back to freedom from the kidnappers in government, I laughed it off, but deep down, I felt the passion she had. No matter how wrongly or wholly risky even such action could have ended. But that's the Mandela spirit, the anti-establishment struggle she grew up in many of the African nations she lived in. They grabbed me my machine gun, anti-apartheid terrorism. She could be seen destructive, but ultimately, I have deep down understood Linda's passion and hope for the common cause of even if methods differ. Rest on, Mama Kelele, the talkative Mama. You will love on forever in all of us. You are more than a friend to all of us. You are a sister, a mother, a family, and so be, it shall be until we also go back into the mother's maker planet. Signed, Mubarak Bala, Nigeria.
That's a beautiful one, Dennis. We go back here. That's a beautiful one, Dennis. That's a beautiful one, Mambo. I'm humbled so much. The first time I read it, Mubarak Bala sent it to me. I should say it here on air. I respect Mubarak Bala. I really honor him and I really wish him well. I really feel bad. I've written severally on Facebook defending Bala. Bala is a brother to me. Bala is a comrade. Bala is a friend. But when I read that, he sent it to me. When I read that, I felt emotional. And I said, whatever happens, I'm going to air this. Whatever happens, I'm going to put this in the book. Whatever happens, I will not blame myself for sharing this Bala's attribute because it touched me. Bala said something which is very important about Lynda. Lynda was faster than the process. I wish people can note that from Bala's words. Bala's tribute was quite long. But one thing I noted is the love Bala had for Lynda, is the respect Bala had for Lynda. Bala says that Lynda was faster than the process. What does it mean? Lynda was faster than the system. Lynda was faster than African humanism. Why? Lynda knew that life is temporary. Lynda knew that no one of us is going to stay here for a long time. She wanted to have things done. In Africa, we are so sluggish. We are so slow. Why do lawyers take so much time to finish up a simple case? I'm a lawyer personally. I know how stupid our court systems are. Why would Bala take 2 years without having a judge, without having his case heard? Why does it need to take years? Africa, this is the problem. Lynda was intelligent. Lynda was a superstar, was a thinker, was faster than the process. This is what Bala says, and this is the truth. Being faster than the process may make people hate you, Mambo. Me,
Yes.
I want to see Africa free. Okay, Africa is big. I want to see my country, Uganda, free. I want to see my country, Uganda, with better roads, with better leadership, with less and less corruption. I know we cannot end corruption, but at least it should be less. It should be less. People should have the basics. This is the Uganda I want to see. So when you speak these things, they say, you are faster. There's a way you use a word in my language. I want to use it here, but to me, you are faster, you know? You are faster. You are so quick. You are faster. Lynda was faster. This is what Bala says. Why? Because I don't know when my life is going to expire. That's why I always told Lynda that for me, I write every day. For example, in the last 2 years, I've written 5 books. In the last 2 years. Why? Because I have the talent to write, but number 2, I have no assurance that tomorrow I'm going to be alive. Now, because I work so hard to put these writings out, people may say, oh, you are too fast. You get it? But why do you want to be slow? Who tells that being slow is also very good? Because life mambo. Yesterday we were going to die in Sierra Leone. Now, what if there are things you would have not done by that time? And then you say, I wish I had done them. Now that's Katomokasa. Every time I set out to write a book, I say, I must finish it now. It may take me 4 months or 6. But every day I wake up and say, if I go out of work, if I am having a free time, I must go back to my writing table and do something. That's me. So Lynda was faster than the process. Number 2, Obala says, which is important, and I got this idea from Bala. Bala said that African humans must accept to recognize Lynda as our hero, and we give her an award. You see, this is why I have put it in the plan we have, that next year, 25th of September, we must reward Lynda with an award, and then we must start giving awards to African humans. We shall not wait for the Europeans to develop us, even in things which we can do. We aren't going to wait for the Europeans to give us their awards. We can make our own awards. Yeah. When others don't recognize how good you are, you sit down and recognize how good you are within your own parameters and levels of judgment, because maybe others have the best way to judge you. They think you are not yet good enough, Mambo. Maybe you first die and say, oh, Kato was good. So now they are going to wake up and say, when Kato is dead, they're going to give him an award and say, oh, he was a very good human Africa has ever produced. When I am dead, they will say that those stupid things, by the way. I know that very well. When I die, they will say all those stupid things praising me, but I will be dead. And I will never need them. Okay? So, because when we are dead, what do you know? That's why I told that when I was with Mr. Paul in a meeting of 3 people, I told Lynda these words, which I've been saying on TV, that Lynda, you equal to 5 men, you're a woman, but your energy and intellect and everything you have is equal to 5 strong men. Because men think they are stronger energetically. Lynda was stronger than them. I told her and she laughed. I told her, you work so hard. The strength you have equals to 5 men who are strong, not these weaklings. There are men who are weaklings who can follow by the wind. Lynda was better than 5 strong men. So I told her in life, I said, even on TV, I said, Lynda, you must be awarded. You are so strong. Intellectually, you are so bright. Physically, you were a sacrifice. You are strong. Emotionally, you are alert. You know? Now, Bala says in that letter that we must award Lynda an award. And I said to Bala, we are going to do that. When Bala says something, I'm going to accept that. So I told Bala, I promised him, as African humanists, we are going to reward Lynda with an award, but we are going to start from her award to reward Mambo, to reward Bala, to reward Dennis, to reward Brian, to reward whoever, Takudizwa, to reward whoever is good, to reward Robert Bambale, to reward everyone that has done something good for African humanism. We must start now. Let us not wait for people outside Africa to see how good we are, Mambo. Because trust me, they will never see that in us. So why do we wait for them? Why do we wait for them to give us awards which they won't give us? So we better organize ourselves and recognize the best among ourselves. This is what we're going to do. And Lynda is #1 on the list. And the date is 25th September next year. We are having this award in a specific country. We shall organize, and I will go there, and we shall go there and say we are celebrating this award business of saying Africa has great people. #1 on the list, Lynda Tilley. Then the next year we shall say Mubarak Bala. Like that, we shall agree. How do we award our own people so that they also feel recognized? Bala is in prison for us. I would be in prison today. Bala is in prison, is having the bitter pill because he dares to speak out. Now, if you don't recognize Bala and you give him an award, what else can we do? Because we cannot send thoughts and prayer. We cannot send them. At least let us have an award and say, Bala, we are recognizing you when you are still alive because you were a hero. Now, I'm going to read one obituary. Then I'm going to request you kindly to put back Lynda's photo. I'm going to read an obituary from a gentleman who has helped Lynda a lot, and who has helped Humanist Africa at TV a lot, and who has helped a lot of our work a lot. This gentleman is Mr. Paul Ewans, who is not with us here, but I'm going to read his obituary, which I put in this book. The obituary is on page 285, and it is Lynda Tilley, an obituary by Paul Ewans. Now, Mr. Paul Ewans is the one who was behind many of the projects Lynda was doing in Africa. And I want to thank you, Mr. Paul Ewans, and your family for supporting Lynda and for supporting Africa and supporting Humanism Africa. I want to thank you so much openly here and for supporting especially the projects Lynda was doing. Now, I'm reading from what Mr. Paul Ewans wrote. This is what Mr. Paul Ewans wrote about Lynda. Lynda was born in Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, during the freedom struggle, and recalled taking refuge in her mother's linen cupboard with her sister whenever they had explosions. Lynda's father was a former Liverpool police officer who immigrated to Africa in 1963, and her mother was seventh generation Zambian born from a family of traders and shopkeepers. Lynda attended government schools and then the University of South Africa. She then lived on a farm in the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro and wrote a popular blog about her life and travels in East Africa. She later worked in the tourist industry in Tanzania as the manager of a guest lodge in a wildlife reserve. It was while living in Tanzania that she earned the name Mama Kerere, a tribute to her advocacy on behalf of the people unjustly arrested by the police. In 2020, Lynda was living in Durban, South Africa, and experienced the urban riots which happened there that year. Lynda realized that the mainstream media were not reporting accurately, and she decided to do so herself. From that time, she became increasingly well known as a human rights defender. Like many humanists, Lynda was appalled by the 2020 arrests and subsequent conviction of the prominent Nigerian humanist Mubarak Bala. Driven by her compassion and by her strong sense of justice, Lynda reached out to humanists and atheists organizations across Africa to rally support for Mubarak Bala and for his wife and child. In doing so, she acquired an enormous number of contacts across the continent, many of whom became personal friends. She also became exceptionally well informed about the difficulties faced by non-religious people in highly religious societies, and she was unsparing of herself in her attempts to help them. She was unsparing, Now, Lynda was always deeply concerned about violations of human rights, whether in South Africa or elsewhere. She went to great lengths to help workers in South Africa who were being exploited by their employers, placing herself at significant risk while doing so. In the last weeks of her life, she was heavily engaged in securing documentary evidence of repressive regimes, repressive actions by government agencies in Sierra Leone, evidence which she lodged with human rights organizations. The day before she died, Lynda sent me a voice note about a builder who had been shot in the groin by soldiers as he stood on his scaffolding in Freetown. She wanted me to know that she had managed to get some money to the man's family so that they could take him to the hospital for treatment. Lynda believed that even in the midst of a general disaster, it was always worth trying to save just one person's life if you could. In promoting humanism and defending human rights, Lynda did as much as 10 ordinary people. Should be impossible to replace. Paul Ewans. Thank you so much, Dennis. Very, very moving tribute. Very, very, very moving tribute. Thank you so much, Dennis. That is Paul Ewan, a gentleman who was largely behind Lynda's projects. I think Paul Ewan was the neck that drove Lynda with the energy to do more. So I want to take this chance to thank Paul Ewan for the good work you have done. You were a noble humanist, you were a noble gentleman that Africa is proud. Sometimes we don't value people who help us. We wait for them to die and we begin speaking so many good words about them. I'm happy I said the good words to Lynda. I'm happy I've said the good words to Mbarak Bala. I'm happy I'm saying the good words to Mr. Paul Ewan. And I'm happy I'm speaking good words to Mambu and everyone in my life. I've told them how much I love them. I've told them how much I respect them. I've told them how much I treasure them. Because that's me. I tell you, Mambu, you're a good man. You have helped me. Thank you so much. This is what the world needs. Now, as you said rightly, you can even see that Mr. Paul Ewan has mentioned the man who was shot in the groins. The man you talked about. Mr. Paul Ewan has mentioned him in Freetown. The man you talked about. In Sierra Leone. Yeah. So, and he said that Lynda told him that, look, I've even sent money to take the man to the hospital. So whatever I was saying, it was true. So you see, and Lynda was accountable. One thing I loved about Lynda was accountability. She doesn't hide. She tells you. And accountability means even speaking things which people don't want to hear. It's not about money alone. Mambu, if you are naked, I'll tell you, Mambu, you are naked. Can you please go and dress? I'm accountable in that way because I want you to do better. You get it, Mambu? Mambu, I want you to allow me, Dennis, I want you to allow me and take me back to the screen. Give me the photo of Lynda again. I'm going to read the last poem I wrote for Lynda. After this poem, I'm going to take the mic back to Mambu, and we are going to close it at that point. I'm going to encourage everyone watching us to please give us feedback in the message box, give us feedback in the inbox, and please, whoever is watching us, the book we are launching today is free. I'll repeat it. The book we are launching today is free. I had to burn my fingers to stay sleepless nights to write it, but I've decided that this book will go out for free because I want people, the mindset to change. Lynda left wisdom, which I want everyone to share, to dig into. She talked about African unity. She talked about the economy. How do we get out of poverty? Now, if we read these things, we are going to be empowered. Lynda gave us the knowledge, which I've documented, and I'm giving it out for free. For free. Now, Mr. Dennis, I want to request you, please. Yes, I'm going to read this poem. I wrote it on the 15th day of October this year. The poem reads, Ode to Lynda Tilley. The poem reads, Ode to Lynda Tilley. My friend is dead, gone too soon, dead. As I grieve to no end, I see her whisper to me on my screen, talking with me, smiling from the other end, talking things with me. And she says in uncanny soft voice, there's nothing left for me. I played my part, Kato. Except my role, Kato. I'm happy with myself, Kato. I'm proud of myself, Kato. I dedicated myself to the cause I loved. And she is damn right. There was nothing left to prove, nothing to do in depth. She offered us her very best, but left us at her very best. For her, end was so sudden, so brutal for such a burden, not a violent death, but a void is in depth. The indestructible solitude left me with no gratitude, yet in coldness, yet in tiredness, yet in laziness, yet in emptiness. I feel powerless. The coldness without the chemistry, the infectious smile, the beautiful laughter, the piercing gaze, the sharp eyes, with that million gaze. And she offers her smile, her trademark smile, to always say, Kato, my friend, leave that little island. Come to me, my friend, leave that little island. Come to me, come to my homeland. And all will be well, Kato. With me, come to me, come to me, come to my homeland, Kato. And her name was Kerere, Mama Kerere. And so the sea of thoughts sets in a den of darkness, sets in a desert of truth, sets in a forest of lies where ignorance is bliss, when wisdom is gone, when knowledge is scarce, and men love war, and men hate peace, and boom, the bombs, raining bombs of Gaza, and she's weak, a weak dead, and the thousands die, the children, the mothers, and the invalids, and all die all over the globe. People die again and again. When? Where? You, a desert plant that we rarely see. Where you, an aquatic plant that grows in water, only to die at the beginning. The end was the beginning. And her name was Kerere, Mama Kerere. Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, she's dead, gone, by the wind, gone, death from a brain in New Zealand. I can't figure out the algorithm that defines death, but yet she's suddenly dead. Lynda is dead, and I still miss her dead with her weight, dead with her humor, dead with her criticism, dead with her brutal honesty, dead with her clean heart, dead with her generosity, dead with her truth speaking, dead with her tender heart, dead with her love, dead with her affection. Yet she lives on in our memories. And in us, she is still there, here with us. Lynda's good deeds lives on. She is still here, living with us. In us, we miss you, we love you, we loved you, and we still love you. And her name was Kerere, Mama Africa. Lynda was the truth seeker. Lynda was the truth speaker, the voice, that voice for the voiceless, that Kerere that set prisoners free, the Kerere that spoke truth, that bitter truth, the bitter truth to set you free. Lynda was the microphone. Lynda was the loudspeaker. Lynda was the medium. Lynda was the go-between. Lynda was our mother. Lynda was our sister. Lynda was our comrade. Lynda was our associate. Lynda was our teacher. Lynda was our mirror. Lynda was our shield. Lynda was our speaker. Lynda was our smoking gun. Lynda was our terror alert. Lynda was our ostrich. Lynda was our giraffe. Lynda was our elephant. Lynda was our lion, the voice of reason. The voice of wisdom, the voice of defense, the symbol of resistance, the fighting spirit, the decoy soldier, the peacemaker, the negotiator, the mediator, the jewel of Africa. And her name was Kerere, Mama Kerere. And the cruel hand of death snatched her slowly, but faster than lightning, in the fog of the season's end, in the last lap of the season's end, a mist in desperation, this passion, that low-lying crowd that hit the humanist crowd, shaking you, the crowns. The warm, cold mist hits us in a fashionable haze. The mist was in the smoke, the paralysis like the dew, and the paralysis of analysis. What caused her quick death? The demise of unseen. It is the paradox of life. Life starts when it ends. Life ends when it starts. It's a nimbus cloud, like a stratus, like an unpredictable and yet She knew her days were numbered. She told me, my friend, let's live in the now. For tomorrow is not promised. Let's live in the now and enjoy the now. For tomorrow is not promised. And her name was Kerere, Mama Kerere. You are loved. You are missed. You are sorely missed. Your projects outlives you. Your impact is felt. Your memories still shine. Your memories still lives with us and within us. And her name was Kerere, Mama Kerere. Mama Lynda Tilley, the only Lynda Tilley. It's hard to say goodbye. And Kato Mukasa, the date is 15th October 2013, and the place is Newcastle, England, United Kingdom. That is my poem, long poem I wrote to remember my friend Lynda Tilley. Thank you then so much. That is my Tilley poem for my beloved sister, my colleague, my friend Lynda Tilley. It's a long poem, very, very beautiful poem I wrote from the heart about Lynda Tilley, summarizing her life, her conversation with me. Almost everything about her is in that one poem. Mambo, I want to invite you to give us your conclusion. We have launched the book briefly. We have said the book is launched and the book is freely available. Whoever wants it, simply to contact us. We shall give you a copy. That book you see there is freely given out because we want people to know the thinking of Lynda, that Lynda loved us and Lynda made a contribution no one is going to take away. Mambo, may you please give us your conclusion, Mambo, and I'll come back and give my conclusion. I'm going to invite Mambo if he's online. Mambo, if he's online. But of course, I'm saying it has been a great day. Nandip has just come on concluding. Nandip.
Yes.
How are you, boss?
Yes, comrade, sorry for coming late.
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you well and clear.
Good, good. I just came back from to visit our friend Mubarak Bala.
How was it? You told me.
Here in Kuje. It's not long ago. With my boy, I have to refresh, take my bath and get something to eat. I spent more than close to 2 hours with our friend there. We discussed a lot. So I know I missed a lot from this wonderful episode and talk show. I just come in. I don't know how the talk has gone.
My brother, my comrade, my brother, my celebrant brother, Nigerian philosopher Nandip Bongfa, you are welcome on this show. I should tell you that we have short our time by 17 minutes. Actually, we are done with the show. We have launched the book. Everything is done. You were late, but I knew where you were. Don't blame yourself. Wait a minute. I knew where you were because you told me, and I told you, send my greetings to Mubarak Bala. Did you do that? I told you to send my greetings to Mubarak Bala.
Yes. I'm not hearing you very clearly. I cannot hear you well.
I'm going to repeat. Can
Hello?
you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's not that clear.
Maybe you increase your volume. Maybe the volume of your gadget maybe may be low. I don't know. But I'm really louder. I'm really speaking so loud. I don't want to be so loud than this. If you can hear me, may you please?
Yes.
Can you hear me? By any
yes,
chance, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you a little bit.
Can you please tell us how Mubarak Bala is?
Yes, I met Mubarak in a very good health. Honestly, I was so happy to see him. I've not seen Mubarak for over 4 years. The last time I saw Mubarak is 2019, immediately after our conference that we held here in Abuja, 2019. This is the second time that I'm seeing Mubarak. 4 years now. Yes, 4 years. And we held each other, we really hugged each other, that he says he really missed me a lot. I really miss him too. We sat down, we discussed about his case, about the humanists in Nigeria, that is Han. Also discussed about the Humanists International. We also talked about his case. Yes.
Nandip, I can hear you, sir. I can hear you, but you are getting cut. I know the network is bad in Nigeria at the moment, but I can hear you loud and clear. If you can hear us, please continue. If you can hear us, please may you continue. Yes, Bala Nandip told me in the morning that he was going to come late because he was going to visit our colleague Mbarak Bala, and I want to say thank you so much for visiting him. We shall be talking back about that on our platform and not here. Nandip?
Yes.
Can you please continue? Continue in only 5 minutes because we are running short of time.
Thank you. So we talked a lot, and he introduced me to some of people that have been supporting him in the correctional facility there, and some of the people that I have never met before. He introduced me to them, and we shook hands, and they knows him, and they really supported what he has been doing, although they are of former faith and belief. They don't even have problem with what he's doing. But since that they find themselves together in that facility. So Mubarak is eager to come out. The problem is, how are we going to help our brother to come out from that place? Amina is missing him. Sudangi, the little boy, our little humanist comrade, that is, everybody is a 80s. Everybody was born 80s. Everybody, until when you get indoctrinated. I went there together with my son, Julfa Nandip, who is 7 years old. We are together with him there. And I know also he has not been, indoctrinated. So he doesn't know anything about religion. So he's an atheist until when he grow up to become 18, 19, 20, then he will decide to choose what he believes and what he knows and belongs to. So my point here is Mubarak is really need our help. Mubarak is supposed not to stay, at that facility up to this period. Everything that happened from his transfer in Kano to Abuja, mostly doesn't know much about it. He doesn't know. So we need to do something to help our brother and our comrade. How are we going to do it? That is what I don't know.
Nandip,
because we don't have the resources to help.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
This program is about Lynda Tilley. And
hello?
We are ending it. This program is about Lynda Tilley, and we are ending it. And of course, we know that Lynda Tilley supported Mbarak Bala. And of course, we have just read what Mbarak Bala wrote about Lynda Tilley right here. But because the program was about Lynda Tilley, we are going to keep it Lynda Tilley. We shall have a program where you are going to come and tell us whatever you discussed with Bala. And again, as a team, we shall be able to find a way forward for Bala on a different program, not this one. So I want to welcome you back. I knew you went there, and I'm happy you met my brother. We are going to have a special program for Bala. If you want it next week, so be it. We shall have it right here, and we'll talk about Bala. In fact, we are going to have it next week. And we are going to be the one hosting us and telling us everything. Now, having said that, I want you, because we have overshot our time, and my producer tells me that our time is over, I want you in 2 words, not 2 words, in 3 minutes, to tell us something about Lynda, what you learned from Lynda, and what you are going to remember about her in 3 minutes. Time was short. We are 2 hours ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Honestly, Lynda, initially, I don't really understand that woman, because when she started activism on Han and Dr. Leo Igwe, the attack we received and on the board member the Humanism Association of Nigeria and Leo Igwe, I was so worried and disturbed that what are all these things going on about this fraud of a thing, this scam of a thing. I decided to contact her and inbox her. I told her that what is actually going on. If you have issue with a board member of Human Association of Nigeria, the Anne and then Leo Igwe, please find a way so that you people can kind of resolve this issue, not to be taken and accuse everybody alone. This. She told me that she have tried to discuss, and she has even come to our WhatsApp group. I can remember that time that she came to our WhatsApp group, and then things go, high wire, and she was kicked out of that group because I don't know that is the part that she's giving. Not until we have our last talk show in call on activism, the first and second before a demise. She told me that yes, a lot of things have been sent to Han, and then they were misused, that we are fraud and we are this. I said, no, we don't have an account. How can such amount of money come to us? She decided to send me a lot of documents. When I look at it, I see Han, that is Human Association of Nigeria, so amount sent, so amount sent. I said, does that mean that this woman, she's saying the truth? That's how I started to believe that the cause that this woman she's fighting is a just cause for people that doesn't even know. If not so, how will such huge amounts of money come in the name of Human Association of Nigeria and nobody knows? Even the trustees doesn't even know. Board of director doesn't even know. We don't even have account. At least let one or person and one or two people that have that information know. But I am talking to you now. I don't know. She talks about a lot of things. That's why I started to think that yes, this woman, she's doing this thing with her own mind and with honesty and justice. I love her. Without the two show that we did with her before her demise, I really miss her. I was so shocked when you say that our good friend is no more. I was thinking that you are just joking. Yes, Lynda could be here together with us now. I really miss this activist, this fearless defender of African, this fearless defender of humanism in Africa. I really miss her. We need people like her. We need people like you to stand for injustice so that justice should prevail. There's a lot of things that is going on that many people doesn't even like to talk about. Yes, I miss Lynda Tilley. I got to know her late. When I know her, she's even normal. And this really pains my heart. I could have known her long ago. Because I've known her, she's one of my friends on Facebook, but I believe that it's one of those people, random people that want to destroy the name of Human Association of Nigeria, but it's not like that. I met with my friend today, Mubarak, we discussed about this issue. Yes, he opened up to me that he think that these people, they are kind of trying, he think that they are helping him, but they are not helping him. That's exactly what Lynda, she's saying. Yes, I'm not afraid of anybody. I'm almost 50 years old, so nobody's feeding me. I have my job doing. I'm an expert in agriculture. So we need to put ourselves together Humanist Association of Nigeria, you have to be restructured. Lynda have said what is wrong with us. And people doesn't want to, come out and talk. The accusation that she has been given to humanists, and then nobody has come and challenged. I've asked a lot of questions. I asked the president, Mr. George, that these are the questions that I want to ask our organization that Lynda has been talking about. Please answer me. 1 week, I've not gotten any answer. I decided to send that same question to the men Humanization of Nigeria WhatsApp group. That's where the problem started. Why will I be attacking? Why will I be associating myself with Lynda and Katu? You and they didn't even care about Mariam. Why will I associate myself with Katu and Lynda? They didn't think about Mariam at all. But Mariam insulted me. I have to tell her that no, I'm not a scam. I'm not a fraud. I don't know all these things that you people are talking about. So don't join everybody together. I choose somebody that you know that he has done the wrong thing. Don't join everybody together. Yes, I know that I'm involved. I've sent my credential, my data, my details to be registered as member of the Humanism Association at the board of trustee. So anything that comes to us really pains me, of which I don't know anything about. So these things is wrong, and it need to be corrected. And everybody in the hand, that is Human Association Nigerian Men Group, started talking. And I received a lot of attack. I received a lot of attack from our, what do you call it, WhatsApp group, that is ESCO WhatsApp group. A lot of people attacked me. I even received a call that I should allow the ESCO to do their job. I said, the ESCO, they are not even doing their job. A simple question asked, they cannot even be able to answer it. Are they doing their job? No. Mubarak was arrested, that is 2020, almost 3 years, over 3 years now. We have not held any conference, and we have not even opened an account. At that particular point in time, that Mubarak was elected as the acting president of Han, 2019, he started making efforts that account of Han should be open. The next year, he was taken away. And then 3 years after, the account has not been opened. Is there any interest? Some individual have interest in that? That's the question that I want to ask. If some individual have interest, the account should not be open? Because we have already select you that you, our ESCO executive. Do the needful. 3 years, nothing. The account cannot be open. Sorry for taking too much time, Comrade Katu. The right thing is supposed to be done.
Thank you, sir. Now I know you
sir.
have. I know I like you, ma'am. Nadip, you are my brother. I've seen you since 2016, and I've suffered a lot. Actually, since 2015, I think we have been suffering together a lot. And why he laughed is that you said that your group hated Lynda in the same measure they hate me. They hate me. That your group, the so-called ESCO, the way they hated Lynda for speaking the facts is the way they hate Katomukasa. And I liked it because when you banned me with Lynda, me and Lynda were cut from the same cloth. I call her my sister because our thinking was the same. Our thinking was the same. We are opposed to the same bad things. So for us, I and Lynda, since this is the day for Lynda, we were against corruption. We wanted accountability in African humanism. And because people don't want to be accountable, they hated us for speaking the truth. Nanip is telling that Lynda asked them, if you say receive money from this so-called X and Y organization, where is the money going? These were the questions Lynda was asking. If you receive money from XYZ to do work for Bala, where is the money going? Can you please tell us? If you say you had a conference and the conference happened Can you please tell us how many people in the conference?
Hello?
How much money was spent? But don't come back on that. Just give me a minute, because we are going to drag so much on this. I know you're burning. What I'm doing right now is that I'm substantiating what you have said. But for me, because the day is for Lynda, I don't want us to drag outside it. I want us to remain focused on Lynda. Okay? Me, whatever I said today is to remember Lynda. Okay? I don't want to discuss Han. I don't want to discuss XY. That's why I am not mentioning names today, because the program is not for them. Nandipo, get me. The program is not for them. Now, Nandipo, listen. I don't even hear you. I can't hear you. Nandipo, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Now, if the producer can hear me, the program is.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Nandipo. Nandipo, I can hear you.
That's
Nandipo, we are going to discuss this. I'm closing the program now. Then I'm going to close the program for today. The program for today is about my sister Lynda Tilley. We don't want to discuss Han. We don't want to discuss XYZ. They will have their day if you give them time to discuss what they have done. I'm just happy that the NGO Nandipo mentions that hated Lynda also hated me and still hates me. But why? Because we told them, please, can we be accountable? We want to see Mbak Bala out of prison. We have been getting these monies. Why are the lawyers not working? These were the questions Lynda was asking. Lynda was asking questions because Lynda had used private money to do things which this NGO claims to have done. This is why Lynda was annoyed. Why? Lynda gets money from a private donor to go and meet Mbak Bala, to go and move a case, and these people get money from an organization to do the same work which Lynda has done already. Lynda gets the medical doctor from Mbak Bala. Lynda gets treatment, gets drugs from Mbak Bala, and the same people claim to have done the same thing, but Lynda thinks they have not done so. Lynda asked them questions. Why is Mbak Bala staying so long in prison? Yet we are getting all this much money. You have got 44 million nairas. Who about that rent? Maybe about 40 millions nairas. This is too much money. It must have done something. There's no court hearing. There's no nothing. As a lawyer, I felt ashamed. What are these lawyers doing? These are the questions which Lynda was asking. But Lynda was asking them in good faith because Lynda wanted to see Bala out. It's the same questions I asked today. Not that I hate anyone, but I want to see Bala out. Now, when you ask these questions, people say, oh, you hate on us. Why are you asking these questions? Africans, we must learn to take the hard pill and accept to be accountable. This NGO that Lynda was blaming failed to be accountable. This NGO, the executive member of the NGO, does not even know how much money this NGO received. Doesn't even know how much money was allocated to XYZ. That's why Nandipo is here to say this NGO, on which is a board member, is corrupt. And this is what Lynda was saying. Now, why would we blame Lynda for speaking things which a board member of the same NGO speaks? Why are you hating her? Is it because she's Caucasian? That's why you're hating her, because she's white-skinned, as you call it? Why are you becoming racists? Why are you racist, you Africans? Lynda was simply telling you what was true. She was simply telling you, wake up, style up, do things the way they must be done. There's too much money given to you, 44 million nairas. What have you done with the money? Mbak Bala hasn't received this money. His wife has not received this much money. Lynda was asking the right questions. The wife of Bala hasn't received this question. So, Nandip, let us not go back to this. I was summarizing it. Nandip, we are going to have a discussion next week. We are going to choose a day. We are going to discuss right after here on our group. And then we are going to come here and we discuss that NGO on a program specifically for it. You will tell us what Mbak Bala has told you today on a program specifically for that. Now, this program is for Lynda. Let us give Lynda respect and keep it civil and keep it Lynda Tilley. Because if we begin talking about other people, we shall be disrespecting Lynda. So for now, we are making a tribute. Let us keep it Lynda. And because of that, I want to beg that you allow me to close the show. But request and promise that the next program tomorrow, if Nandip is ready, we are talking about Nandip's journey to visit Mbak and what transpired, and also Nandip giving us a history why there were problems in hand. Nandip, is it agreeable?
Hello?
Is it okay? Is it okay to have that program with you tomorrow?
Tomorrow cannot be. Let's fix another day.
Okay. In other words, we are going to fix a day with you. What I was saying today was that we are willing to give you a program to come and say exactly that. But because this program is for Lynda, we are keeping it Lynda.
Yes. Katu, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes. It's because of Lynda that all this thing comes out.
Yes.
You know, if not because of her, I would not have any knowledge of what is actually going on in humanism in Nigeria. So don't blame me for.
I'm not blaming
for bringing,
you. In fact, I'm smiling.
This case. So I really appreciate her for bringing up these things. I appreciate her. I appreciate Mariam. I appreciate you. Mariam really insulted me that I received prompt from Leo's table. You see, that is a very big insult. That I received prompt from Leo's table. You can imagine that kind of thing. So I thank Lynda. I thank Lynda for activism. Yes, I really thank her.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Nandi,
yes.
We are closing. Dennis, let us close by having the video of Lynda Tilley repeated, and we shall just say goodbye. And as we say goodbye, please play that video. We shall not come back on this program to say the same. Dennis, we are saying goodbye. The book is launched. Nandip, we are going to give out free copies to everyone. We are going to build a school to remember Lynda. The books are free. No one is going to buy this book. Yes. The books are free. And Dennis, please, may you play for us that video until next time. Thank you so much, our viewers. Thank you so much for loving Lynda. We are keeping it.
Thank you very much, Katu. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my brother.
You.
Thank you so much.
I've downloaded the book.
Sorry?
Yes. I said I've downloaded.
We cannot do any of this, Katu, as a divided, broken continent. We can only do it as a united Africa, because we all have these issues, and one or two countries asking for this themselves. Do we honestly think that it's going to be granted in a few countries? Then everybody else is going to come on board and they're going to have to do it for everybody. We have to stand together. First of all, I think it's very un-African to beg of the Europeans. It goes against our honor and pride as African people. I think it's actually disgraceful myself to beg. I, as a white person, will never beg from another white person. Why do that? It's so symbolic of slavery and of the old colonial regime where the white people were the ones that the black people had to beg and ask things from. I just don't agree with it at all. So it's actually very sad that the mental... there's so much there that is still ingrained into black African people and will be for a long time. That's why we have to get our education and things right in Africa so that people can start learning the truth about what has happened to us. And like I say, we don't want tit for tat vindictiveness. We just want the truth to be known, and we want our people to be honored and for the British to own up. The reason why our history is hidden and our artifacts are hidden, one of the reasons, is because if everybody in Africa knew the true history of the brutality inflicted on us, and I'm not talking just about the things that we all know about, big genocides and massacres and things, but all the other little things and the little brainwashing techniques that were introduced into our education system and everything like that, people would really, even white people, racist whites, I'm sure, would do a double take and say, sure, we've been so wrong all these years, if it can be backed up as it is with factual evidence. We have to stop being beholden to the West.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Dennis, you have done a great job today. Thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you so much, viewers. Thank you so much for watching us. And we are signing out. Goodbye. That was Lynda Tilley, Angry Musings from An African Hero. The tale of Lynda Tilley. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe. Stay safe, and see you in the next one.